Hey y'all, this tutorial is going to be just a basic white glitter tumbler. This is like a staple to have in your arsenal because there's so many things that you can do on top of it. So I wanted to just show, from start to finish how to do a basic white tumbler. I am not going to be speeding this one up. So if you've been looking for a tutorial where I really just slow down and show how to do every little step, this is the one for you. So let's get started. Alright, so the one thing I can't really show you because I don't have a setup for it is how to get a really good coat of spray paint on. So you'll have to watch some, spray paint tutorials or something like that. To figure out how to get a nice even layer, but you do want the most even coat that you can get, and I recommend doing maybe 2, sometimes 3 light coats of spray paint. Don't try to do it all in one or you're going to get runs and drips, but you want to make sure that you have a nice even white coat because all white glitter, well, not, I shouldn't say all, but most white glitter is actually translucent. It's not fully opaque. So you are going to see your base coat through it. So just make sure that you get a nice, even base coat. I would not recommend doing acrylic paint for this kind of cup. You can for others. More like the metallics, the opaque glitters, you can use acrylic paint to base coat, but I would not do it for the white because you will see all the brush strokes, you will see everything underneath, all the flaws. So just make sure you do thin, light sprays and just do multiples. It's a lot easier if you do it that way. Okay, so just like in all of my other videos, I'm using probably about 5 mils of epoxy, and I'm just putting it on super, super thin. It does help if you warm up your cup, and it will spread a lot easier. You can see I have a horrible football inside of my cup here, and I think I change it out later in the video, but like I said, I'm not going to speed this video up, so I really wanted to show kind of how long it takes me to make sure I have a good even coat of epoxy all the way around. Just for anybody who's new who might be wondering, exactly how long this process takes, So I wanted to slow it down. This is just kind of a back to basics video. Okay, so now we're going to get into the glitter. The glitter that I'm using in this video is from a supplier that I no longer use. Nothing wrong with the supplier, I just don't purchase from them anymore. So in the beginning of this video, I actually listed another supplier, Mr. Nola's Glitter. I want to say it's Ice, I can't remember, I'll put it in there. And the links are down below for all of my most used suppliers. In case you were just wondering what I use, where I buy stuff from, it's all listed down below in the description box. So I'm just dumping the glitter on there, really. It's just a single color, so you really don't have to be fancy about it. Oh, here we go. I'm going to change out my stand here because the one that I had in there was not holding my cup. So just give it a minute and I will switch that out. There we go. A football holds a lot better in this style cup than the plunger. That's what I call it. I don't know what the arm that has the plumbing attachment to it. Okay, so back to the cup. I'm going to put a just heavy, shaking it on there heavily. You don't have to be precise with anything because, like I said, this is just a solid cup. You're not trying to do any kind of ombre or anything like that. You just want to make sure you get it on there to the point where there's no epoxy shining through. You can actually see right there where there's a little bit of pink. It almost looks pink on my cup. That's because the epoxy is still wet right there, and I haven't put enough glitter in that spot to cover that up. So I always glitter over a piece of paper, a coffee filter, just anything that I can use to funnel back in. That way I'm not wasting glitter. So I'm just pouring it on there. You can see I don't even have the lid on anymore. I'm just pouring it on. And I will go around multiple times on the cup just to make sure I 100% have all of those slick spots kind of covered up. Just turn your cup around in different angles so that you can make sure you're getting everything. And press down the bottom. You know, I usually roll it around like that. Most people say not to, but you know me. Um, I don't know if you actually know why they say not to do that. Supposedly it can, a little bit of glitter can get epoxy on it and then stay in that pile and then get into your cup or your shaker of glitter, but I don't know. I've never had a problem with it, so it's never been an issue for me, so I'm good. So you can see there, I was just showing you that there is still some spots where it's a little bit slick, so that means the epoxy is soaking through that glitter. I don't have enough on there yet, so I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle more. And this glitter that I'm using is actually like a super fine, not, I think it's a super fine. It's a very, very fine glitter. So sometimes that can take a little bit more, especially if you put on too much epoxy in the beginning. I like to use a white that has a rainbow throw to it, just an iridescent white. If you get a white that is completely opaque, it's probably not going to look very good under epoxy. It's not going to be super sparkly. It's the same thing with a black. It's just going to look kind of flat. It doesn't sparkle the way that you expect it to. It doesn't have any color to it. It's just not as pretty. So I always go with an iridescent of some sort. There's plenty of different iridescents. Ones that have a golden hue to them. Ones that have a violet hue to them. There's a pink. There's rainbow. It's just really, you know, there's a lot of options, and it has the best impact, I think, over just a solid white glitter. I think it looks so much better because, as you can see in the video, it sparkles like crazy. Alright, so once you have a good solid coat, you're going to set that aside, let it cure 8 hours. You could probably do it after 4 to 5 hours, depending on how warm your room is, but the longer you let it sit, the better it is, really. So this has one coat of epoxy on it, and I'm going to show you how to do the second coat. If you want to bump up the sparkle even more, you can put a little bit of FeatherBear Bling's Cullen in your epoxy, just the tiniest bit, and it's a super, super ultra fine holographic glitter, silver, and when you put that on anything, it sparkles like crazy. I actually use it in pretty much every single cup that I make. This glitter, I put it in the top coat because it is just that amazing. You won't see it as long as you use the tiniest bit. You won't actually see pieces of glitter, but it'll just make your whole cup sparkle. So that's what I did here, and I've got about 20 to 25 mils of epoxy. I can just get my turner going in the correct direction for me. And this turner is from Steph's Cupboard. If you guys want to check them out, that's where I get most of my cups. This one in particular is not from there, but I do buy most of my cups, my shakers, and my turners from Steph's Cupboard. The link is down below. So I like to start at the top and just kind of drizzle and just hold my finger directly on the cup and then just kind of keep moving down. Anytime it starts to feel a little bit dry, I'll pour a little bit more, or move it from a different spot on the cup. But I just kind of spiral my way down just to get the first initial layer of epoxy on the cup, and then I'll kind of go back and make sure I didn't miss any spots and make sure that I have an even coating and I don't have any like big blobs of epoxy anywhere. Also, I should be wearing a glove on my other hand, but I'm not. My videos are not meant to be epoxy safety tutorials. So make sure that you are following proper precautions when you're using epoxy. Do your research, find out what you need to do for your particular brand of epoxy. If you have any kind of lung issues and things like that, make sure you're wearing masks. I would recommend wearing a mask whether you have any issues or not. But just make sure you do your research and follow the recommended guidelines for using epoxy safely. All right, so now you can see I'm just getting out the last of it and getting it on my cup, making sure that I have a nice, I'll go around and smooth it out, make sure I have a nice base, or a nice layer, I suppose, not a base. I do kind of wrap my fingers around the lid or the rim just a little bit. I'm not sticking my finger in there, but I do kind of just wrap it around just a little bit. And I am going to show you how I clean off my rims here in the next step. As you can see, I'm like fighting with my cup because I don't have my football in there properly. So that's another tip. Make sure that you have your football or whatever you're using, a pool noodle, whatever. Make sure that you have it firmly seated in your cup before you try to do this particular part where you have it on the turner, because you don't want it to fall off. And luckily mine didn't, but I was really pushing it for this one. Make sure you get your bottoms really, really well. You don't want a huge puddle at the bottom, but you do want to make sure that you've got a good coat on the bottom rim, or it will be really rough whenever you go to finish your cup. So now I'm just using the torch. Just make sure you move really, really fast. As I said in other videos, you want to make sure that you don't hold it in one spot for too long. You want to just make sure you're not overheating that epoxy, because you will burn it. And once you scorch epoxy, it becomes like a hard plastic, because that's what epoxy ends up being, a plastic. But once you scorch that, it's over. Like you're gonna have to like let the cup sit, and then you're gonna have to sand it off or start over. And you can see I take my time with this. I do heat it up a lot and to get those bubbles popped. And so yeah, here's the cup. You can see just how sparkly it is. It looks like I got a couple pieces of glitter random from other places, but oh well, that happens. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I clean the rims. Now, please be careful because I'm using the X-Acto knife. Well, this is actually a Cricut brand, but please be careful because this is very sharp and you can easily cut yourself if you're not being careful. So what I do is I actually ran this cup under super hot water from the tap, and it just softens the top of the epoxy just a little bit, and then I can easily get that knife through those layers of epoxy that have come over the rim. So I will go through and clean all of that up. And then if there's any spray paint or anything like that on the inside of the cup, I take acetone and I will wipe that out. Just make sure you get everything out. You want to make sure you wash that cup really, 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 really well afterwards to make sure you get all the acetone out of it. But do make sure that you are feeling the inside of your cup, because sometimes little drops can actually get down like an inch into your cup. So just make sure that you're looking for like little drops and things like that. You can see that I have a very stubborn one right here that I'm messing with. It probably has to do with the fact that I needed to warm it up more. I usually do this at the sink. So because of filming, it probably got cool on me and didn't want to come off as easy. But oops, sorry, went off frame there a little bit. So just use your finger. I like to do this without a glove on because I do like to be able to feel everything. You can actually feel little bits and bobs of epoxy on the rim. And so after that, I actually will take like a sanding block that is a pretty fine grit and just go over the top of the cup a little bit more just to make sure that it's nice and smooth. Okay, so I did not show you how to do the decal on this one, but I did want to show you how I finished the cup. So again, this is 30 mils of epoxy. I usually do 30 mils on a 30-ounce cup for the final one, just to go over all of the decals and everything. I like it to be a good thick coat, and I usually only need that one coat. That's usually all I need. But if you do a thinner coat, then you probably will need two, or you'll still feel the vinyl underneath. So this does have the Cullen mixed into it. I just used the tiniest bit again. I'm using the same method of just holding my fingers on the cup and pouring just a little bit on there. So the reason that I wanted to show you guys this cup in particular is because white cups, you can do so much to them. You can ink over them with alcohol inks. You can do the tattoo method where you get the sleeves of tattoos and you can put that on it. You can do water slides on it. That's really popular, the water slides. Super helpful to be able to do that because white water slides are a pain. And there's just some images that you can't cut out, so you really need to do a white water slide for. Not a white water slide, a clear water slide. So it's just really helpful to have a white cup in your arsenal so that you can do those kinds of methods and get the really cool effects like with the tattoos and the water slides and things. You can also do the geode cups with a white cup. In that case, the ink geodes, you would not put a layer of epoxy over your glitter, you would just start dropping ink onto it and make a shape like a geode, and it kind of spreads out in the glitter and makes a really cool effect. If you guys want to see any of those methods, just leave me a comment. I'm more than happy to show you guys how I do some of those. Alright, so this cup is just about done. I'll finish smoothing it out, and then I will hit it with the torch again, just like before, and it'll be good to go. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, if you want to see anything, just anything in particular, pop a comment down below. I do have a few more videos that I have recorded, and I just need to voice over and edit them, and I'll have them up for you guys. One of them is a rainbow tutorial, a glitter rainbow tutorial. I also have a glitter sunset ready to go, and I'm going to be doing a full vinyl wrap on a cup. So if you guys want to see that, subscribe to my channel, and then make sure you hit the bell so you get notifications whenever I upload a new video.